about have our rights being affected as children and young people during the COVID-19 pandemic?
How is this impacting our physical and mental health? And more importantly, is there anyone listening to what we're trying to say?
We have a right to be heard and a right to receive honest information, but sometimes the information being provided to us can just be so confusing.
Often, we are being blamed by the media for the increase in transmission through schools and colleges, but we're not given the opportunity to voice our opinions.
I guess young people are an easy target, and everyone knows the way we're portrayed on the media is not always fair and balanced.
Alongside rights go responsibility, and many young people take this aspect seriously. Many engage in voluntary work focusing on aspects of the environment, community and mentoring projects. Us young people want to be part of the solution to some of the problems this world has.
We have a right to learn and take part in our education, but as schools, colleges and universities continue to close and year groups are sent home to self-isolate to keep us safe, we revert back to homeschooling, and our education has suffered because of this.
Those who took their GCSE and A-levels last year faced weeks of stress and anxiety, awaiting their results which had been taken out of their hands. Here we are again facing the exact same problems with equal levels of uncertainty.
Our teachers and lecturers are really trying to embrace the new technology, and we do appreciate this, but the virtual lessons just aren't the same as there's very little interaction and we feel like we're being left behind.
Children with disabilities who require support from services have had this taken away from them due to the global pandemic. This has not only had a huge impact on the young person themselves, but also their family members.
And with that support being taken away, parents and carers are no longer receiving their short breaks to have some time to themselves, of course. This having potential impacts on their mental well-being.
Some families are also shielding, which has added further pressure onto them. As young people have been unable to attend school, and they're falling through the gaps. Sometimes, when you have a disability, access to virtual learning proves difficult, as children and young people may need sensory-based interventions to support their learning, meaning this support cannot be replicated online.
Young people need to be able to release their energy through sport and physical activity, but for some young people with a disability, they may not have a suitable or safe space to burn off their excess energy. So do you think there is enough opportunities to have meaningful consultants with children and young people who have a disability?
Some of us were unable to attend services at our local mosque during the pandemic. This was hard because the mosque was a place where we could relax, unwind and see our friends within the community.
However, our older relatives face barriers to access these because they're not as tech savvy as us.
Our religious leaders encourage children and young people during the pandemic to help the community by delivering food parcels to those vulnerable.
We have the right to relax and play. For many children and young people, schools offer the only opportunity to take part in physical activities through PE and after-school clubs. But through the impact of the pandemic, we have lost this.
We would usually go to socialise and enjoy recreational activities are no longer accessible. This virus has taken away our right to see our friends and participate in groups and clubs. This has made some of us feel worried, as this is where we bonded with our trusted adults, making us have days where we don't feel like leaving our bedrooms, let alone our houses.
Being able to see a doctor, that's if there is one, has been challenging. GP appointments are difficult to get, and dentists are only offering emergency appointments. Although healthcare is accessible, it's not always available.
Yet an area of improvement can be seen in the accessibility for online sessions and appointments within children and young people's mental health services through CAMS partners COOF and Young Mind Crisis Manager services.
We have a right to a good standard of living, but with thousands of jobs at risk and parents and carers dealing with stressful financial burdens, many young people's physical, mental, spiritual and social development is inadequate. How will this affect our long-term development?
Well, as summer beckons, another wave of young people are having to leave schools, colleges and universities. We're not feeling as confident as we did before all of this happened, but one thing's for sure, we're going to have to fight against more people than usual so we can get our place in the working society.
This pressure has led to a concerning decrease in young people's self-esteem, knowing we'll have our skills and abilities scrutinised and compared with others.
The government has offered financial support packages for businesses and individuals, but many people have fallen through the cracks. This crisis has taken its toll on many people just trying to earn a living.
The delay in receiving universal credit payment means that some families do not have enough money to live on.
Families throughout the city are now relying on food banks until the government changed the decision on free school meals, thanks to Marcus Rashford. Without its help, thousands of children and young people would have been going hungry during the holidays, despite the fact we're allowed to ask for help if we are struggling financially.
Food and heating poverty, infant mortality rates and COVID-19 death rates are all huge social injustices, which can cause incredible mental distress. Is it right that so many children go without when we're told that we're a wealthy country?
Some of the impacts COVID-19 has had on vulnerable children and young people can go undetected. We have a right for protection from substance misuse, but child criminal exploitation has increased with activities such as county line networks, adapting to overcome lockdown restrictions. Liverpool has one of the largest footprints outside of London for drug trafficking outside of town.
When children and young people endure trauma, there should be proper facilities in place in order to help them. Meaning all schools and services should be properly informed so they can adequately help them.
See you later. Yeah. Schools can help by practicing a no blame, no shame culture, and to help us be more resilient.
There are times when you feel so resilient. You know, when you feel so good you can tackle anything coming your way.
I know we had all of our rights taken away from us during the COVID-19 pandemic. And in some ways, we are being supported, but in others, we are being forgotten.
Let us know your thoughts using the hashtag MyMentalHealthCovid-19 on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter.